while it rains heavily. A young woman, Anna, runs through the rain and finds a shelter to hide in. There is a man waiting there. His name is Marco. He is tall, nerdy, wears glasses, and has a clean-shaven face. Meanwhile, Anna has long curly hair. He starts up a conversation about her running in the rain. He says she would have to run for 4.5 meters per second to not get soaked. He goes on to talk about numbers and statistics. He is a mathematics addict and likes to calculate things. She humorously replies that when she was a child, she used to run slower so the rain would touch her. But now, as an adult, she runs to not get soaked. Marco takes her ink pen and the pens down the letters RS, which stand for raindrop speed. He decides to walk under the rain to demonstrate what he means. He then walks away, still talking about the rain. Intrigued, Anna watches him. She waits for his return, even when the rain gets heavy. He approaches from the other side of the shelter and says that the best solution to not get soaked is to get an umbrella from a street vendor. Smiling, she takes it and thanks him. They realize that they are going opposite ways. While he leaves, she calls him back by whistling. She asks him about the probability of them meeting again. Since he is a whiz with numbers, he must know. He smiles and answers that the probability is very low. In fact, it is statistically insignificant. Smiling, she nods in response, and they bid each other goodbye. She takes the umbrella and starts walking home. In the present, Anna is rearranging some boxes. This time around, she has shoulder-length hair. Marco is seen with a full beard and crutches. He asks her to come and assist him. While stepping down the stairs, she sees that he has a cake. It has the number 10 on it. He surprises her with the cake, and she smiles, saying she hates anniversaries. They share a kiss, and she blows out the candle as they celebrate their 10th anniversary. It is nighttime, and she is doodling on some papers while he is sleeping. She goes to the bathroom and washes the ink off her hands. He wakes up when he doesn't feel her presence next to him. He joins her in the bathroom and asks if she worked all night. She beams with a smile and confirms that she did. Anna works in a publishing house where they release newspapers and magazines. She approaches her boss, who is the publisher. She cheerily informs him of her plans. She wants to write a comic book about superheroes. He tells her she isn't the first person to have that wish. She says her comic is special, and he asks how. She begins to tell him about the essence of her comic book. She shows him the front page of the comic. There is a couple and the word superhero. He gives his go-ahead and tells her that he likes it. She leaves with a smile. In the past, Anna is seen selling art in the street. Marco approaches her and jokingly asks her why she didn't call him. She tells him she lost his number. He sees her drawings and says he wants one of himself. She turns down his offer. He pleads with her, and she asks him if he is not afraid to see himself old. He says he only wants her to see him as he is now. She agrees and begins to draw him. Their chemistry is heightened when he is shy to look her in the eye. They go back to his apartment and get intimate. During pillow talk, she tells him her comic book idea. He asks her how she would have drawn him old. She walks to the wall and wants to draw. He stops her and says the house is a rental. She draws an old man's face on the wall. Anyway, while laughing, he asks her to draw herself. She says she prefers drawing others. While she is in the bathroom, he looks over the drawing and asks about the identity of Drusilla. She tells him it is her alias. He gives her an item of clothing to sleep in, and she says she is not sleeping over. He tries to convince her by saying it is the middle of the night, but she sticks to her decision. He asks for the reason, and she answers that someone is waiting for her, which implies that she may be in a relationship. She stands up to draw something else and writes the words, "What is reasonable?" She gives him a kiss and leaves. She goes home and sees her roommate and friend, Talia, by the dining area. She informs her that her hookup likes to sleep with his socks on. They begin talking about their day. While engaging in small talk, they start to arrange the bed. Anna says she had a nice time, but didn't stay. Talia is shocked that Anna told him she is seeing someone else. In the institution Marco works in, he tells his friend, Vittorio, about his experience with Anna. They are doing mathematics equations on the board. Vittorio says Marco has been alone for a long time, and he would love to see him with a woman. He has no time for relationships. In the present, Anna returns home to Marco and shows him the front page of her comic. He tells her it is odd, but many people would read it. She tells him to read it, and he begins to. She is excited that she has enough material for 100 issues. The next one is about intimacy. He deduces from the drawing that being intimate after 10 years is an impossible mission. She funnily confirms that it is impossible, and they begin to kiss. Marco goes to the university, where he speaks about the concept of time. During a press conference, the male host asks Anna if love is so scary that it requires superpowers. She replies, the passing of time is scary. Another reporter asks about Anna's opinion about Drusilla. She answers, Drusilla is just trying to be a grown-up. The reporter asks if Anna is in a relationship like Drusilla is. Drusilla's partner is made up, since a person as absurd as him could not exist. They know she's joking and look back at Marco, realizing that he is her partner. Another reporter asks how long it takes for someone to be part of a superhero couple. She tells them a single concept of time doesn't exist. They all have their own. The host then asks her about her family and how art runs in their blood. She tells them her mother's superpower was invisibility and her father's was super speed. The audience awkwardly laughs at her response. She explains that her father left before she was born, and her mother was always very distant. Finally, the host asks about relationship stability and how important it is in the comic. Anna answers that a couple is a couple, only if it lasts. Otherwise, it's just two people staying together. In the present times, Vittorio is having a flashback of an argument with his old lover, Sofia, who left him after a cheating scandal. He and Marco are supervising an examination. Once Marco sits down beside him, he begins to tell him about how Sofia left him. He is very upset and says that he is guilty about sleeping with a French girl who meant nothing to him. When Vittorio begins to ramble, Marco asks him to lower his voice. Vittorio asks if he has lost her. Marco says he probably has. In the past, Marco goes home to his then-girlfriend, Pilar. She is a medical student, and he asks her how fast her heart beats when she sees him. She playfully calls him an idiot. She confides in him about being anxious about her last exam. It makes her sad that her days of being a student are over. While at the publishing house, Anna is working on her comic. When she steps out of her office, she sees Marco. He playfully tells her she should have told him about the socks, and he would have taken them off. She laughs in response. They get on a bus together, and he asks about her well-being. She answers she only is drawing comics on a cereal box, but is still happy. She explains it is better than nothing, and asks him what the purpose of physics is. The aim of physics is to understand everything, even emotions. She would have studied physics if she had the chance to. After teasing each other for a bit, she gets off the bus, and they bid each other goodbye. He goes back home and tapes some boxes. He entertains Pilar, Vittorio, and Vittorio's then-girlfriend, Sofia, at the house. They are playing a medical game. They all joke around and also answer questions about medicine. Marco gets a text from Anna that she wants to see him. He later shows up at the club to meet up with her. He is back in his apartment, and Pilar sends him a voice message. She asks him to get in touch with the delivery company. She is ecstatic about moving in with him. In the present, Anna and Marco are entertaining guests. It is Christmas. He tells her to get the door and welcome the guests, Vittorio, his wife Lauren, Talia, and her boyfriend, Walter. Then, they make a toast to Anna. They wish for her to write 100 comics. Talia tells Walter Anna and Marco have been together for 10 years. They don't have children, but they have made a comic book. Vittorio and Lauren decide to make another toast. They announce that Lauren is 3 months pregnant. While they kiss, the vase falls and breaks. We are then reminded of how the vase came about. In the past, Anna and Marco go to the market to search for a lamp. She calls Talia. She informs her that she is in Marrakech, where she was in the club with Marco. He brought her to the market to buy a lamp she liked. Talia asks her why she didn't go to IKEA, and Anna reveals that they slept together. She tells her it didn't go well. She overhears a man's voice in the background and asks Talia who that is. Talia tells her his name is Hugo. Anna tells her to stay away from her room, which has a bigger bed. Talia lies about not using it, and the line goes dead. Marco and Anna continue to look for the lamp, to no avail. A little girl approaches them and says that her grandpa knows where to get it. She takes them to the old man, who is blind. He uses his hand to trace Anna's features and gives her the vase. Marco wakes up and can't find Anna. She is on the balcony. He comes to join her and they watch the sunset. He tells her the past few days have been awesome and he likes being with her, although he thinks they are traveling at 2 different speeds. She explains that she has also been enjoying the relationship a lot. He sarcastically says she is being clingy and should slow down. They joke that, since they have been intimate, he has to marry her. He says he is not ready to have a kid. She jokes about wanting to have at least 3 kids. He tells her that she won't be having kids with him. He kisses her on the forehead. She asks if it is obvious that she is into him, and he says that it is. In the present, Anna is seen holding Vittorio and Lauren's child. They are at the hospital, and Marco and Vittorio are there. The men both leave to get coffee from the hospital cafeteria. In the hallway, Marco comes across his ex-girlfriend, Pilar, and hugs her. Vittorio informs her that he is now a father. She congratulates him and says she is now a heart surgeon at the hospital. They all joke. She asks Marco to visit the hospital again so she can give him a heart checkup. He takes her number. She guesses that he has about 3 or 4 kids, and he says he is more of an uncle. While in the elevator, Vittorio asks him what it would have been like if Marco stayed with Pilar. Vittorio expresses that he always wanted to have the baby with Sofia, but it happened with Lauren. He says that someone always has to bear the burden, as he didn't want to have the child. In response, Marco tells him to smile and be grateful for his child. They return to the ward, where Vittorio holds his child lovingly. In the past, Marco and Anna attend a stand-up comedy show. There, Karina, Anna's distant mother, is talking about mistakes and motherhood. After the show, Anna meets her mom in the dressing room, along with Marco. Anna informs Karina about her comic. Karina gets distracted when the manager says that some people are waiting for her. She replies that she would be on her way. She tells her daughter she would have invited her to the event, but it is a boring dinner. While leaving, Karina mistakes Marco's name for Franco, and Anna corrects her. Karina says she is going on tour on Monday. She promises that, when she comes back, they will spend time together. She knows that she will be fine on her own, and leaves. Anna is disappointed that she left, and Marco makes her leave the comic on the makeup dresser. Anna's friends are all having dinner. Talia starts talking about Karina, and how she has failed as a mother. Marco reveals that his parents are dead, and his friends are surprised. He tells them he was 14, and there was a gas leak explosion. It causes silence in the room, and he says that Karina is better than nothing. Hinting that they are moving in together, Talia's boyfriend says there is no gas in their new house. Marco says he shouldn't worry about it anyway. There is only a 1 in 36 million chance that it would happen. Anna meets Talia in the bathroom and asks her how long she was going to keep the secret, that she was moving in with her boyfriend. Talia says that she decided today. She says they already found a house. Anna asks her what she is doing. Talia has only known him for 3 months. Talia asks Anna if she wants to settle down, but Anna doesn't like the idea. In the present, Marco decides to have his heart checked with Pillar. She instructs him to lie down and examines him. He asks how his heart is doing, and she says the heart is very overrated. She says she likes other organs more. When he says he likes the pancreas the most, she laughs. She says her favorite organ is the spleen, which does its job of quietly filtering out blood, without acting like a hotshot. He says she should listen to her heart. She replies that for work, and in her personal life, she listens to the spleen. He laughs at her joke. She tells him that his heart is fine, and thanks him for the game he gifted her. She informs him that she still lives in the house, which her husband is remodeling. He is shocked to hear that she is married. She asks for his relationship status. He tells her he's been with Anna for years. Uncomfortably, she reminds him that they were moving in together when he left her for Anna. She also says it hurts that they broke up the night that she bought tickets for the premiere of a romance movie. He apologizes and says it's a great movie. She says she couldn't bear to see it again after the breakup. Lying, he tells her it's not that great. She laughs at his efforts to cheer her up. In the present, Anna and Marco are having dinner. It is a nice restaurant. He pours her wine, and they talk about silence. They say that silence is the best, sometimes. In the past, Anna and Marco are looking for an apartment in the newspaper. She sees a 2-bedroom that is newly remodeled. It is within their price range, so he asks for the location. When she replies, he contends that it is too far, and takes the newspaper. He finds one close to her, which is at Sit Studio. It has a furnished, spacious living room, and a balcony. She says it must cost a fortune, and he tells her the first 2 months are free. He says he would pay for it, and advises that they should look when they go on vacation. Back at home, Talia sees Anna's drawing, which is about living with a man. Marco is in his apartment when Anna visits, with bags in her hands. She is nervous. He tells her to unpack, and she tells him there is no need, since they are going to Ponza. She tells him she wants to draw, and he says the kitchen table is all hers. He gives her the house keys that he customized for her. Thrilled, she asks him if he got chocolate cookies. Marco and Anna are on vacation. They both swim in the sea, and then enter a hidden cave for some alone time. He says that his father showed him the place. It was a secret spot that only they knew. Marco confesses that he got intimate with someone else here before. Though it was a long time ago, Anna gets upset, cusses him out, and leaves. On the boat, she asks him why he told her about his ex while they were in a magical place. She says she can start talking about her exes, too. This provokes him, and he says that he didn't ask her to do that. She tries to provoke him further by saying that she has some juicy stories. He asks her about her longest relationship, but tells her to spare the details. He continues to ask for more details, and she tells him about the first night they shared. He figures out that she didn't even have a boyfriend when they hooked up. They get over their small argument and enjoy the rest of the vacation. In the present, Lauren is talking about babies and turning 30 to Talia. She says that whenever she met a man, she never thought about if she liked him. Instead, she would only think about if the man would make a good father. She asks Talia if that is a bad thing, and Talia jokingly replies that it is the worst. Anna overhears them and feels like she is being left out. In the past, Marco and Anna are having dinner. They see a couple with a child. She asks him if he wants to start a family. He looks over at the couple, and she asks if the crying, diapers, and insomnia scare him. She desperately wants him to answer. The visual changes to Lauren playing with the baby. Their friend group are having dinner and talking about superpowers. They all agree that they would want to go back in time. They begin talking about love. Vittorio says they should stop talking about soulmates. He insists that soulmates don't exist, since meeting someone is only a coincidence. Marco argues that it is destiny and goes on a tangent about probability. Lauren asks Vittorio if he is glad he came to the French Film Festival, where they met. His answer is cut off by the baby crying, and Lauren goes to attend to him. Back in the past, Anna and Marco are still on vacation. They are enjoying each other's company, while their present selves sing a song with their friends. Their present selves rush to the beach, where an intoxicated Anna proposes to Marco. He kisses her. The next morning, he shows her the place where his parents were buried. He says his father wanted to be buried with his mother. She says Karina wants her ashes spread during a Strindberg monologue at the theater. Before he leaves, he places flowers on the grave. In the present, Marco is also placing flowers on the grave. Anna says that maybe she should quit drawing, stop doing childish things, and finally have a baby with him. But she quickly dismisses the idea, saying that it is too much work. He tells her they can do anything, as long as they are together. She insists on waiting for the perfect time. In the past, they are still on vacation, shopping. Anna tries on a fedora hat and asks him for his opinion. The store attendant attempts to help her choose and provides her with an array of hats. Intrigued by her, Marco starts a conversation with the attendant. Anna gets jealous and leaves abruptly. He races after her and she tells him off for flirting with the shop attendant. Trying to make things better, he jokes around. He tells her she couldn't live without him. In the present, Anna sees Pilar on the boat and rushes to greet her. Anna soon figures out that Marco knows her, and Pilar leaves awkwardly. She is confused that his ex did his heart surgery a few years ago. He says he was in a coma, covered up in tubes, and did not know. She asks him why he didn't tell her, and why Pilar didn't tell her, either. He insists he didn't know anything. Angrily, she says he never knows anything. He says it's not a big deal, but she continues to berate him for lying to her. He tries to reconcile with her, but she is very upset. He says that she should stop acting like Drusilla and save her attitude for her comics. She gets upset and walks away from him. In both the past and present, they are fighting. In the present, Anna is drawing on the couch, alone. They prepare dinner with the friend group. Pilar texts Marco. She asks him if everything is okay. He texts her back, asking why she didn't tell him that she operated on him. Anna is reading, and Marco comes into the bedroom. They are both silent. He says it is the first time she has doubted him. She says anyone would have doubts about Pilar in her place. She asks if he met up with Pilar recently, but she doesn't believe him when he says no. In the past, Anna goes home and apologizes to him. He says that jealousy is stupid. She asks him if he found the store attendant attractive, and he says no. She also asks if he thinks that her comics are shitty, and he says no. After they kiss, she asks him if he knows that she loves him, and he lies and says no. She says she does. In the present, Anna is discussing her next comic issue. It is about silence. She wants the text box to be empty to show communication issues, and the publisher agrees. Marco teaches in the school and talks about force and mass. Her co-worker tries to be coy with her and asks her if the mission of the current issue is to avoid infidelity. She confirms his suspicion. He says the characters should use superpowers to solve the issue. She says they need super speed and super therapy to overcome it. He then asks what happens when a superhero doesn't fulfill a mission, and she says it depends on the mission. He seems to be flirting with her. Noticing his attraction to her, she pulls her chair away from him. She returns home, where Marco is cooking. He asks her if she prefers spaghetti or rigatoni for dinner. She rejects it and says that she is not hungry. She meets him in the kitchen and invites him to the comic convention. It will be a chance for them to spend time together. Before he agrees, he remarks that she never invites him to work stuff. In the past, Anna is showing her publisher her first work. She says she doesn't have a great relationship with the future, and that's why she writes comics. Trying to give her advice, he asks her to picture herself as an old woman. At the end, he agrees to give her one strip in every newspaper issue. She comes home to share the good news with Marco. They toast to Drusilla. When they begin to make out, she is distracted by a call. A woman from a housing agency calls her, informing her about a house. She doesn't want Marco to hear their discussion, so she asks if they can talk tomorrow. She goes back to him and says that she lost her appetite. In the morning, he confronts her about looking for an apartment, and she says she just wants to see what's out there. She says their original plan was to look for an apartment once the summer is over. She says she is taking it one step at a time. He complains that they take one step together and she takes 2 steps back. She says it's what she wants. Upset, he questions her about what she wants and what her problem is. She asks him why they always talk about the future, and he says the future is now. He wants to be with her and cannot live without her. He understands that she doesn't feel the same. He accepts that they are not compatible. He further says he doesn't know what to do, and neither does she. But he can't continue with the relationship anymore. He storms out of the apartment, upset. After she leaves for her new apartment, he is covering all of her works, hinting that they have broken up. At present times, Anna is seen signing autographs for her comic at the convention. She tells the crowd that she will be back tomorrow. Her co-worker, who is still trying to flirt with her, asks her out for drinks, but she declines. She then leaves. While leaving, she calls Marco. He says that he wanted to call, but got out late from class and had to grade exams. He asks about her day, and she replies that it went well. Upset and alone, she sits, surrounded by unfamiliar people in costumes. Anna eventually shows up for drinks with her co-workers. Her coy co-worker gifts her a drink and asks her about her well-being. She says she is okay. She says she signed a lot of books, 121 to be precise, and they make a toast on her behalf. Marco is back at home, dancing, and enjoying some alone time. He calls Pilar and tells her to turn on Channel 5. She does and laughs at the movie playing. He asks her if she wants to grab a drink, and she agrees. She tells him to come and get her in 10 minutes. While Anna is still drinking with her co-worker, Marco is with Pilar and asks her about the heart surgery. She says she didn't want him to know, and he says he would have thanked her. She suffered when they broke up, since he occupied a big space in her heart. She wanted to pull him out of her heart, like a game of operation. She says it was not easy when she saw him a few years later in the operating room. It made her think about destiny. When she went back to see him after the operation, she saw Anna, who was there night and day and never left his side. She says that there was so much love in the room that she left. They toasted destiny. Anna and her co-worker go home together. Meanwhile, Marco and Pilar talk about the old apartment. He asks about how the house looks now. They both stare at each other. She says it is different. They stare at each other more, and she bids him goodnight. He watches her as she leaves for her apartment. He mutters the words, "Thank you." Anna sleeps with her co-worker and regrets the decision. While she lies down on the bed, he asks if he can put on the light, and she asks him to leave. When she returns home, Marco reads from the comics and deduces that couples can't become heroes, even after being together for 10 years. When she asks him for his opinion, he says that he likes it. She says that they should go out to the lake on Sunday to spend time together. She gets a pregnancy scare and goes to the pharmacy to buy a pregnancy test. Talia is with her in the restroom to offer support. She asks who the guy is, and Anna answers that it is nobody important. She rejoices when the test turns negative, and they share an embrace. Still, she is confused about her nausea and headache, especially since she is not pregnant. In the past, Marco is living with and dating someone else. He leaves to the university, and they talk about atoms. He asks for 2 volunteers, and he does a demonstration about 2 nuclear particles by using a stretchy band. He says that the further they go, the more attraction increases. He proposes a theory. If you love someone, don't stray too far from them. Anna is living alone and thinks wistfully about Marco. He's seen looking at her comic in the newspaper. Talia and Anna go for drinks and have a fun night out. Returning home drunk, they both listen to the neighbor and their child. She says she wants to know if she can live like them, with the baby's sounds, the ruckus, and the cartoons. She confesses that it would be nice to hear someone in her house. Talia asks if she misses Marco, and she says she misses him. She misses spending the day out and knowing that he would be there when she came home. Talia hugs her. In the present, she visits the hospital, and the doctor informs her of a cerebral mass in her head. It is cancer. The mass is in front of her skull. It is about 3 centimeters and pressing on the cortex, hence the headache she had been feeling. Anna is immediately sad to hear her diagnosis. Distraught, she looks for her car in the parking lot. She calls Marco, crying that she can't find where she parked her car. She eventually finds it and cries hard. She watches him eat alone in the restaurant and joins him. She immediately asks him if he wants to have a baby, and he answers yes. In the past, Lauren and Vittorio marry. Anna sees Marco and calls him over. She asks what the probability is that they would meet again. He says he didn't think that she would come. She says she came because she knew he would be here. She asks him if he is happy to see her, and he says he is. She's elated to hear that. They joke together. She asks him if he has any questions about her. He says he knows everything that there is to know. He knows that she eats porridge for breakfast because of its high protein content. Her landlord hates when she plays loud music. She wanted to get a cat, but she stopped because it would be too big of a commitment. She is terrible at yoga because she can't shut her mind off. She smiles and is happy that he reads Drusilla. She tells him there is more to know than just porridge and yoga. She lies about getting married in June. He says that he didn't know, and she laughs. Jokingly, he asks about the daredevil that asked to marry her. She asks if he is still in the same house. He says that he moved, and she wants to know if the drawing she made is still there. He reveals that he is upset with her for leaving that morning. She says that she was shocked since he didn't believe in a future together and stopped trying to reach out. In the present, they are both in the bathroom, awaiting the result of the pregnancy test. They rejoice when it's positive. They both go to the lake and enjoy each other's company. She gives her publisher a new idea. She wants the comic to be about a baby mission, where the couple both become pregnant. He commends the idea and also likes the fact that she seems very happy. She agrees and confirms that she is, indeed, very happy. While undergoing chemo treatment, Anna draws. Marco texts her about her whereabouts, and she lies about being in the gym. She comes home, and he says he has news, but doesn't know how to say it. He says he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. She rejects his marriage proposal and says that she can't. While she cries, he holds her. She informs him of her diagnosis. In class, an upset Marco talks about the facts of physical reality. He takes back everything he ever said about destiny. His voice wavers when he says it is impossible to understand everything. In the past, Marco takes Anna to the old house, where two girls now live. He says that he is looking for a nerdy guy and a beautiful girl with ink print on her hands. He is indirectly talking about them. He tells the girls there that he used to live here and just wants to see the wall. They say they did not paint over it. He moves the wardrobe and they marvel at the drawing. He tells the girls that it was the first drawing she ever made for him. He then asks for a knife. He cuts the drawing off and they leave. He talks about the painting and how it is destiny that they ever met. He gets into an accident and collapses on the stairs. While he is in the operating room, Anna worriedly waits for updates. Pillar sees her in the waiting room and tells her that the operation went well. She explains that Marco had a stroke and suffered blunt force trauma. They stabilized him, but he is stuck in a coma. They don't know when he'll get out of it. In the present, Anna and Marco are on the bed. She asks him if she's dying, and he insists that she isn't. She expresses that she is not ready to be without him. She wants the present moment to last for a very long time. He tells her that the moment is theirs, and it can last as long as they want it to. She asks him if he is afraid, and he admits that he is. Marco goes to the doctor, who tells him that Anna's chemo would harm the baby. The drugs he gave her are just for the pain she is feeling. He also says that her cancer is very aggressive. Extremely distressed, Marco asks if there is any form of experimental therapy to engage in. The doctor says her case is unique. When she gives birth, she will be enrolled in the clinic treatment. He also says most people won't want to carry the baby after their diagnosis. Pillar tries to sympathize with him when he says that Anna wanted to have the baby because she knew that she was sick. Pillar says that she did it for him, and he says that he can't raise a child without her. He is angry that Anna wasted a lot of time and picked the worst time for this to happen. She tries to tell him that everything will be alright. The consequences of illness are very difficult to deal with. He says that Anna didn't need cancer. He needs Anna. Otherwise, he'll go insane. He then leaves, upset. Anna is painting the walls blue. He reveals that it is a baby boy, and they celebrate the news. In the past, Anna is seen sitting over Marco's comatose body. She says that she is there with him and wonders if he can sense her. She plays a song to him. In the present time, she draws over the blue wall. Her condition is beginning to deteriorate. While performing, Karina talks about her time with her daughter. She indirectly tells her daughter that everything will be okay. In the past, Pillar sees Anna with Marco and says hi. While they talk, Marco coughs, which signals that he is waking up. As the doctors stabilize him, Anna is thrilled. In the present, Marco is in the ambulance. He has an unconscious Anna with him. They have planned for her to go into induced labor because of her pain. In the past, Marco is recovering. Anna takes him to the new house and excitedly shows him around. He makes a remark about it being odd, and she says that he is odd too. That's why she likes him. In the hospital, Anna is drawing a new issue of Drusilla. She asks Marco if he is upset, and he assures her that he isn't. As she struggles to believe that she did the right thing, he assures her that she made the correct decision. They both admit to being scared. She asks him if he has a law to stop time, and he says no. She soon delivers her baby boy, which she and Marco are rejoiced over. Marco is reading the latest issue of Drusilla. Unfortunately, Anna has passed away. His son is beside him, and they leave the park. The boy admits to being sad. Though he barely knew his mother, he misses her dearly. Marco tells him that she is always beside him, so he shouldn't worry. The father and son leave, hand in hand.